we're going to take a look at a fabulous tune. I'm sure you know what it is by now. This is Tiny Dancer from Madman Across the Water, Elton John's third album released in 1971. There was a Tumbleweed Connection, then a live album, and then this all came out. This came out late in the year. And this was back when albums had really cool stuff in them, like books with lyrics in it and things. You know, times have changed a lot. All the words and photos and cool, really cool stuff. So a lot to be said for the days of the LP. Anyway, what we're going to do in this lesson, of course, most of Elton's tunes have a lot of idiosyncratic, that's probably not the word I'm looking for, but things that are common to do on the piano that are not common to do on the guitar. In particular, chord inversions, using something other than the root in the bass. And that's what's going on in the very beginning of this. A really common progression that he uses in a lot of songs is C's to F's with C in the bass. And so that's called pedal point, keeping the same bass note or keeping a common tone between the two chords. And guitar players don't do that as much, or people that write things on guitar don't do those types of inversions. Chord inversion, it means anything other than the root in the bass. And while I'm here, I might as well clear up that. When we call a chord an inversion, it only pertains to what the bass note is of the chord. So if I play a C chord with C in the bass, we just call that root position. But if I put a G in the bass, or an E in the bass, which is going to happen in this song, those are inversions. And the way we note that in guitar notation is with a slash. So anytime you see a slash in the name of a chord, it's an inversion. It means something other than the root in the bass. The term voicing is very similar, but the voicing is the particular arrangement of the notes in a chord. So if I play a C chord, standard C chord, but if I add a G on the top, it's still just a C chord. There's no special name for this, but I have changed the voicing because I've changed the arrangement of the roots, the thirds, and the fifths. Okay, I should have saved that for later, but it was on my mind right now talking about piano tunes. Now, there's a lot going on in this song, and what we basically have three parts: a verse, a pre-chorus, and a chorus, and an interlude, and an outro. Like I said, 5 parts. But the interlude is really, yeah, never mind. I'll define it all later as we get into it. What I played there at the beginning was mostly a verse, which is starts off with 2 chords back and forth, C and F with C in the bass. And I'm going to do most of the verses, and I've tabbed all this out. I've got 2 pages worth of tablature, and then a chord chart that has the chord progression and the lyrics on pages on separate stuff. Hopefully you're familiar with my MO with stuff like this. And I have tabbed out the finger picking that I would do in there, something like this. Now that kind of is trying to mimic a little bit of what we heard Elton do on the piano. I decided as I was putting this together to not really literally transcribe everything that he does on the piano for the guitar, but it's more how I would play the guitar if I was accompanying somebody singing it. And it's really just to get the same feel and the effect. There are times we'll go into strumming. Some bass notes. And some unusual chords. And the little interludes. So, that's what's coming up. A lesson on Tiny Dancer.